Straight up. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Um, Thank you guys for being here. Wow, I really just had my mic like all the way in the wrong vicinity, but man, I wanted to get on here and holler at you guys. Yesterday was my pre-recorded debut. It was a lot of fun putting it together. I did it kind of like on the spur of the moment and kind of sliced up the segments to try to meet the criteria. But as you could only imagine, there were definitely a couple hiccups, a couple mishaps, a lot of things that I know moving forward I will improve upon. But that's with anything. But I just wanted to really utilize this opportunity, um, this investment, I should say, because it seems that um, even though there was like an interest in doing this, not only has the interest expanded, I see the investment expanding. So I had did a pre-recorded broadcast, and I thought I kept it underneath the 30 minutes, but with the platform that I use, they only give you 500 megabytes, and these 500 megabytes, look, honestly, they got ate up real fast, and before I knew it, I was like not over a gigabyte, but like really close to a gigabyte. And I was like, I don't think this is going to work out to my benefit. So I had to upgrade my account. And when I upgraded my account, I was like, okay, if I'm going to upgrade my account, then I really have to go the distance. Like, I know I took some time off last week because I had a sore throat, and I was kind of like jet lag or travel lag or however you want to kind of put it. I was out of my routine because I had been gone to Houston and came back, and it just seemed that everything caught up with me, and there was like so much to do that by the time I actually had some free time to do something, it was like Sunday. And like I literally locked myself inside the room and I went to work. So that's all I did. I went to work, I made it happen, and now we looking back at it, and now I'm on day two, and I'm like, man, I hope I didn't lose the continuity, the people, all the engagement, and all the cool things that were happening on the flip side. Because one of the things I do know is that I have a penchant for Facebook, because Facebook is what I know. But in all actuality, I'm starting to learn, just like with utilizing TikTok and utilizing YouTube and Twitter and slash X, all these places where I don't really have any association with, like where like my number's not stored in their phone and their number's not stored in my phone. So it's not like I'm recycling the same friendships over and over again. Those platforms I am really making leeway with, and I really like it, and it's giving me that excitement because it's not just one set of people. I get to talk to a plethora of people, and like I said, when you have strep throat or sore throat or whatever it's classified as, and you can't talk or talking, you're in so much pain. It really kind of delays things. So yesterday it was a blessing to get back on there, and while my video was playing, I was actually watching it. And it's so funny because last week I was sitting down with a friend. Well, I had a conversation with her, and I had to ask her a question. I was like, yo, I know with social media and some of these profiles, I don't know if Facebook is becoming like a dinosaur, and it hasn't been MySpace yet, but you see a lot of spam accounts and you see a lot of things on here that at one point in time you felt like they used to put filters. Like I remember back in the day, you could not provide certain links on Facebook. Now you can basically see everything. And in fact, there was a issue on Capitol Hill, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this up real fast on Capitol Hill about social media, and there was a lot of blowback with like members, people, family. Well, they say like a month ago. So I put in Google Capitol Hill about social media, and the first thing that pops up is like a YouTube, and it's a Yahoo Finance. It says social media CEO grilled on Capitol Hill on child safety because um, there's a lot of stuff going on with the social media platforms nowadays, and there's a lot of stuff that just sit there and say it has become the norm. That's not what I would like conscientiously say is acceptable, but it's become acceptable. In fact, I know I've seen some things on my story, like where I see like some imagery, and I'm like, yo, I think that person is completely in a birthday suit. And then when you turn around and you look at it and you're like, oh, that was an armpit. Or oh, that was a portion of a person's body and they blurred it. There was a couple of accounts I just flat out just like reported, and they were like, I got back a conversation, and I got back a response, excuse me, a response, and people were like, no, that's not inappropriate. And I'm like, how is that not inappropriate? Like, that does not need to be for public consumption. Long story short, um, there's a lot of new stuff going on with these social media platforms, and there's a lot more exposure, and people are able to expose more of themselves to um, the public than ever before. And for me, I'm like, that is a lot. So as I was sitting down talking to my friend, and I was like, I thought your account at one point in time was spam. She had stated to me, no, my account's not spam. That's actually me and what I'm trying to do. And we had like a good little back and forth with each other. We talked, I mean, because we're friends and we haven't talked since the beginning of 2024. So we were just having our, you know, biannual conversation with each other, and it ended up becoming more of a, hey, I see what you're doing with your platform. This is what I'm trying to do with my platform, and let's potentially do something together. And I was like, that's cool, because the whole premise behind me doing the podcast is like what I have done before. I learned something so that I can help others um, perform and operate and handle these things. True story. Back in January, my wife and I, we were at church and we were at Bible class, and we were having the conversation with one of the ministers. And one of the ministers knew her since she was a baby at the church. And it was like, oh, your husband does this. And she was like, yeah, he does that. And so they're like, oh, perfect. We got a place for him in our ministry. And I was like, cool. I don't want to not utilize my gifts for God. I think I was coming in there like a baby and walking into this environment and just, getting the word and getting the feel. But sometimes we're not allowed to have um, our feet wet. We don't get that leeway. And like I said, the church is not a foreign concept to me. So in essence, I was like, I'm with it, I'm with it. But I said that to say this. My skills had diminished since the last time I sat behind a camera and recorded a sermon, a ceremony, an event, any of those things. So actually, me being back here and learning how to really expand my presence on these platforms is a big deal, because I don't want to be a person that catches lightning in a bottle. I want to be a person that can refine, replicate, and make something out of nothing. So my platform, my intent is to expand it. My intent is to um, conduct conversations with like-minded people, and in the event that I can one day um, build a plan of action to actually help a consumer with their craft, then I'm all for it. That is, in essence, who I am. In fact, being 40 now, one of the things that I have been going back and forth about is career path. Like, do I want to stay in the career that I've been in, or do I want to move forward in a new direction? Part of me feels like media is um, where I want to go with things. And that's going to segue into my next discussion. Earlier today, I finally had the chance to watch American Fiction. Now, I'm not sure if you are aware what American Fiction is, but it's a movie that came out in 2023, and top to bottom, it has a lot of actors that I'm a fan of. One, Jeffrey Wright; two, Issa Rae; Tracy Ellis Ross; Sterling K. Brown, and the list goes on. In fact, they got my girl Erica Alexander from Living Singles on there. And I just got done finished watching the movie, and all the way to the third act, um, I was in love with the film. And the third act wasn't bad. I just have I have a disposition about undoing and redoing something, right? The first time you present it to us, unless there's like um something that's being a seed that's been planted in the actual film, I don't like redoing a certain aspect of a movie and saying that it's a hypothetical when we're like coming to the conclusion. It's like you giving three, four conclusions all at the end of the film, and that to me is not, that's not player. So I'm watching American Fiction. It's about um an author who happens to be black that writes, but he doesn't write to his target audience. That means that his writing is not based upon his up, well, I can't say upbringing. It's not based on the color of his skin and the commonalities in black America. It's not based upon watermelon, chicken, and things of that nature. It's based upon him articulating himself and writing to his core audience. It's kind of like what I'm doing with my podcast. My podcast is to my audience and not to my peers, but because I feel so comfortable talking to my peers, and I feel like those who know me, I don't feel, I'm not I'm not scared to be authentically who I am on this platform. Now, if it's another platform, yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand. That might not be something I'm about doing. Like, it takes time. This is March going into April, and when I started doing a live broadcast, it was like January, and it was one camera, and it was in one position, and it was me talking without a microphone. And now I got a camera above me. I got the main light off. I got a secondary light. I got a microphone. I got the AirPod in case I play any sounds, and goes on and on and on. And that's what I was saying. What happened to me yesterday? I spent additional money so I can afford to send you guys live streams and make uh, packages and like um, broadcast different shows and segments and different ideas to you without having to worry about X amount of space. I know exactly how much space, and I know how much I can develop and present it to you. But I also know that that's going to take me away from the live stream, and me taking myself away from the live stream, especially right now. I'm looking at that at like, what is the point of me doing that? Because I didn't spend X amount of dollars not to see the analytics and see exactly what I can potentially do. That's kind of sort of like where my mind is at. I went ahead and expanded my link tree yesterday, and I put my Amazon storefront on there. And instantly my mind started to click, and I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that because Facebook is my comfort. Facebook is friends. And speaking of friends, I want to say shout out to my homegirl. She knows who she is. She had sent me a message yesterday. My heart goes out to you. And I promise you, one of the things I'm learning about life is that life be life. And I read the message, and I'm going to respond. I didn't respond. It kind of caught me off guard. I was like, wow, that's a lot to unpack. But then she had shared with me and shared with the public a story about um, a boyfriend shooting, I believe, a child, and it kind of caught me off guard. And like I said, those things hit me deep because life is precious. I don't know why certain people don't understand how precious life is, and a disagreement or distaste or there's few things I can rationalize in my head that would justify um, someone taking someone else's life. That is not something that should be afforded to anyone, but yet and still we live in the day and age where people do things. And my friend was telling me a story about her, and when she had told me about it, I was so in shock that I didn't respond. And like I said earlier, life be life. So this morning I woke up, and me and my wife had a little time with each other after we took our daughter to school, and we decided we were going to get some breakfast with each other. And it was one of those like moments where, like I said, 6 going on 7 years of being with her and looking at us, and she looking at me, and she had shown me a picture of her with her girlfriends before we had even knew each other, and it's like so funny how it happened. Like, we've been together and we have dealt with some opposition. We've dealt with some good times. We've dealt with some hard times. And we're dealing with stuff as it comes and as it is presented to us. There's just a lot to unpack with that. And one of the things that I did this morning was I just was able to admire my wife for being my wife and saying that, there's no one in the world I will want to, fight for as much as I will want to fight for her. And I know we give each other a lot, but at the end of the day, I think we got a lot of potential, and I think we're heading in a better direction than what we once were heading in. And I can only give the glory to God and thank God for that. So this morning, with that being said, um, she was like, "Hey, you want to go get some breakfast?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be nice. Let's go ahead and get dressed up." So we went back home. We got dressed up. We got out of our, take our daughter to school clothes. I put some smell good on. We had similar outfits. I wore a denim. She wore denim. Actually, she had wore denim first, and I was not going to wear denim. But what ended up happening was I put my shirt on, and I thought I was slick with it, and I ended up getting that infamous deodorant stain. So I had to conceal my shirt. So I ended up throwing on some denim. I ain't have her color denim, but we made it happen. And we decided we were gonna go and we were gonna look for another black business because I've been anytime I leave the house and have an opportunity to spend money. I want to spend money in my community. So I'm Googling all over and I'm looking at black owned restaurants in Montgomery, Alabama. And everywhere I turned, I was not finding what I was hoping for. Because, like I said, last week, we just happened to find Jazzy's Eats and Treats, and it happened to be open because this place is open on Wednesday through Sunday. So it's not like a place you could just go to Monday and Tuesday. And today's Monday. So I'm looking all over. I'm like, okay, they got a couple other joints out here. And I happened to come across this article, and it was on Ebony. And Ebony had posted about this place, and it was called Baristas and Baristas. And it's like a coffee shop. And I was like, well, cool. We do a coffee shop then. Just go get some coffee, sit down, maybe play a game, gin rummy, and just enjoy each other and just have a conversation in public. Um, we spent a lot of time last year in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and downtown Harrisburg has a lot of minority businesses. So we were always able to find a place to go eat at, play a game of cards, just chill out. It was all good. Today, we get in the car. I'm preparing to go to that destination. My wife calls the vet. Our puppy has not been feeling well. And it was to the point where we needed to have a solution to the problem. So what we ended up doing was um, bypassing breakfast, going downtown, and we went out to the east side to go take them to the doctors. We take them to the doctors, and what ends up happening is they do an exam on him. And while we're out for lunch, because time had elapsed, my wife was like, hey, let me go inside the store. She went inside this department store. 3 hours later, she came out with what she needed. Um, what ended up happening was they're telling us, like, oh, everything's everything. But me and my wife are like, no, everything's not everything, because when we went to go touch him, he squeaks, and he's not a squeaker at all. So we feel like you guys might have misdiagnosed him, and you guys might not see what we see. So she's explaining all of this stuff to the vet, and the vet's like, oh, okay, everything's covered, but the x-rays. Cool. Let's get the x-rays. So we get the x-rays, right? And let me tell you this, right? These x-rays, I thought they said 32.58. These x-rays were $285. Now remind you, my wife and I had went to the doctors 3 times last week with our insurance. And as I had said to my mother-in-law, I said, our visits didn't even cost a sixth of what his visits cost. And guess what we found out when we went to go pick up our boy? He had gas, and he has gas. And because gas is so uncomfortable to canines, it has caused them to move lethargic. It has caused them to not want to move hardly at all. And as happy as I was to find out that there's no bruised bones, there's nothing like that. No one didn't step on him too hard where he's injured. I'm also like, that is an extremely large bill for a toy poodle to get some x-rays. So I'm over there like in disbelief that x-rays for canines cost this much, but go figure. You mean you spent X amount of dollars on a toy poodle, you should know this comes with the territory. But luckily for us, we were at Outback, and Outback had a special. They had 2 specials going on right now. They had an appetizer, entree, and a dessert for $16.99, and they have a soup and salad like Olive Garden for $9.99. And if you spend the additional $3 to $4, you can get the big dog items. So my wife went with the soup and salad. I got the steak. Their Heinz 57 was not hitting. The steak was a little rubbery. The Caesar side salad was everything. And I try to hold off on the bread as long as possible. But at some point in time, um, I lost myself and I indulged in the bread and butter. Um, but I say that to say this: my wife got like 5 premium salads and 4 soups. She had the French onion, which was amazing. They got some Tasmanian chili. It was good. Of course, I didn't touch the potato soup. And I think there was like another soup. I didn't try that one, but I had the iceberg salad and I had the Caesar side salad. I didn't try the pecan salad, but man, we ended up leaving that place super full. I was so full to the point where I was like, look, um, hey, you live, you learn. Dogs have gas. So my wife and I talked and we were like, listen, I'm not trying to control him or anything like that. But when we're cooking and we have company over, things of that nature, it might be best to put him in a playpen. So we agreed to that, and we eventually rolled that out. So that was pretty dope today. Like I said, I'm gonna get back to the movie in a second and give my final review on it, but um, I was really taken by the fact that a toy poodle's X-rays can run over $300 at a place like PetSmart with having one of their doggy packages to ensure that you keep up with their essential needs. So that was something in itself. And then we went to the department store, and I was pleasantly surprised at Dollar Tree today. I had no idea Dollar Tree had so many cool little knickknacks. But one of the things, those who are listening to the podcast, make sure you go check out the video on YouTube. I found a pack of authentic casino playing cards. And I didn't think nothing of it because I was like, yo, do you guys got some playing cards? And they're like, yeah, we got these playing cards, like $1.25. Me and my wife going to go to whatever restaurant. We're going to play some gin rummy. So I opened up the deck. I'm like, dang, it feel like somebody been playing with it because it opened up with, real ease. I look up at it. I said, well, they got that cut to it. You see that cut? I'm like, they cut to me, and I'm just going to say on the left side because when you're reading it, you read it left to right. So I'm like, they got it cut on the left side. And I said, that's real interesting. And then I seen the label, the tape label, but these cards come from Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa in Las Vegas. I don't know if it's still in existence, but I said, that's fascinating. They play with a deck of cards and then they resell it and then it goes to the Dollar Tree. We didn't play with it because we spent the bulk of our time at Outback smashing on the soup and salad until I got to the end of our stay and I got me I made a concoction and I'm going to do a live stream video and present it for you with subtitles. Actually, I got two documentaries I'm kind of working on. I'm hoping to get one out this week and the other one out later on within the next 2 weeks, depending on the time constraint. But as I was saying, life was happening, and because of that, I did not get to do what I had set out to do yesterday. Yesterday, after I got done redeveloping my link tree and putting my store links on, I said, well, if I'm going to invest all this money into like the stream software, um, the lights, the microphones, and all of these social media platforms, and giving it all this time and energy and paying for this podcast, I really need to be consistent with it, and not like consistent like I do it sporadically whenever I got time. Like, no, I got to make it intentional at this point in time. This needs to be a priority. I need to constantly be developing and making something to justify the cost. But then I flipped up and said, well, I can easily take care of the cost because I'm already getting approached by different people to do business with. And I said, right now, I'm not there. Right now, I love what I'm doing. I'm still developing it, and in time, maybe, but doing this takes a lot. One, to sit up there and record your podcast, and as you see what I'm doing right here, I'm literally, I have the concept and I have the show running in my head what I'm going to discuss, and I figure out how to interweave it together. I hope that's a word, but intertwine it together in a way that I can stay on task and have the discussion with you and conclude the story. Because every time I get done with my story, I then take my broadcast and I put it in Premiere Pro, and then I go ahead and transcribe it, and then I go use an app like Chat GPT, and I always ask them to give me the synopsis and the thesis of my broadcast, and then tell me, did I leave it with a complete thought? And if it doesn't meet that criteria, then the video is not worth turning into a podcast. So I already have I have a baseline. So when I talk, I'm talking with purpose, and even with this live stream, which subsequently can become a podcast later on, if it doesn't meet those check boxes, then I'm not going to allow myself to use it because I want to give people me, but I also want to give people me with a purpose. And the purpose thus far is to inform you. If you're thinking about being a dog owner, and you're going to get a toy poodle or a small dog or a dog in general for all of that, they actually have dog insurances. And I think those, that's like a secondary payment method because the game is so real. And it's not a game, but the necessity and the need. Where I grew up in Ohio, if our dogs died, our dogs died. You know, we could have them for 5, 10 years, but now that ain't the case. And these dogs are an investment. And seeing my little man sick, it brought pain to me, and I wanted to make sure he's okay because once you have that attachment to that domestic animal, you in it for the long run. Life ain't gonna be the same if you don't hear him prancing around with his little footsteps. So we're at that point, the point of no return. Um, and I wanted to discuss over Outback and their deal right now, and just to tell you, by by my account, you definitely want to do the soup and salad and get the premium option. It's a way better package than the steak. I think I'm getting to a point where if I don't make my steak or my father-in-law ain't making my steak, then I ain't eating my steak. Trusting people behind the counters to deal with me, that is a trust exercise I really don't foresee myself keeping and adhering to. And especially in a city like Montgomery, because um, looking over all these places, I'm literally in disbelief that there's not enough or there's not a plethora. Like, I know about Vibes on the weekend, and don't get me wrong, Vibes is a vibe, right? It's everything that you will want. It's like black excellence, but it's like black excellence and not a hole in the wall, but a place that's not like East Chase, and it's somewhere where I will feel comfortable at, and I can wait on service and understand, the demographic, but it's not a place where you will see a lot of people not like me frequent, but I can appreciate their food and their cuisine. But I got to get that on the weekends. And then you got to get Jazzy Eats and Treats Wednesday through Sunday. So I'm hoping this coffee shop is hitting because outside of that, I know a couple other places. There's a gas station in Haynesville. I know I can go give me some grits, give me some bacon, some sausage, get some fish. There's a lot of opportunity for us in Montgomery, Alabama, as far as I can see. But there are a lot of mom and pop shops. But like I said, I'm coming into my own where if there's Black people who are owning and operating the business, I want to give them my money until proven otherwise because um, there's not enough of our businesses around here that are supporting ourselves. And that's cool. That's cool. So that's why when I watched American Fiction, I absolutely loved the conversation and everything that was had up until the third act. Because if you guys watch Madam Web was a person who had visions. And it wasn't until later on in the movie she's seen these premonitions and started to act on them before what she saw manifested itself. And that was a super power, that was a super ability. And in this essence, it's um breaking the fourth wall. Put it to you like that. I love when they break the fourth wall, but in this scenario, there was a couple hypotheticals, and I thought each hypothetical diminished um the value of the movie. Not by a lot, but it took away because it had such a proper buildup that when they changed it, you were kind of like, oh, now we got to go back here. And then they're going to dramatize it. And then they're going to add the flair. So they're going to give you A, B, and C. And then they're going to continue to move forward with the story from there. But I felt like the first one, A, was the best. And yeah, because they referenced The Sopranos. And in this case, I think it was used properly. Um, Jeffrey Wright is a phenomenal actor. Um, this was a more vulnerable character, and the portrayal of this individual wasn't strong, fierce, boisterous, and dominant. And then the one that was Sterling K. Brown, which I absolutely love Sterling K. Brown as an actor. I can't say, you know, to each his own. And even though he portrayed a character that I I just think it was to break that wall. I mean, he's a thespian, he's an actor. So his delivery, the way that he acted, I've never seen a more masculine um male example of a homosexual um but yet vulnerable, expressive, and emotional. So he's strong, yet he's able to also be sensitive. And he's also a person that's dealing with conflict. And that's one of the things that I admire the most about Sterling K. Brown as an actor. He gives it in every role. In this role, it was asked of him or they wrote it in, but he was gay and he still did a great job. I just feel that sometimes, how do you say it? There's sometimes you could be something and you don't have to actually be it. It can be implied. Just like I wish Facebook would learn how to imply and stop strongly promoting something that children don't need to see. But then again, at this point in time, I don't think my daughters nor my nieces and nephews use that platform as often as like myself, because like right now I'm broadcasting to 5 different Facebook pages all at once. And those 5 Facebook pages don't bring the retention nor the value that my 2 YouTube platforms bring. But because I'm comfortable with that platform, I stay engaged with it, because at one point in time, I struck gold. And to me, it's a market I'm comfortable with, so that in the event that I do pick up clients and this does become something more than a hobby that I do for the moment, um, sky's the limit. And I think the potential outweighs the risk. But that's just my disposition. But as I teach myself how to use this technology in 2024, trust and believe me when I say this, um, I'm going to go to the pot of gold. So that means if there's no rainbow over this platform and there's a rainbow beginning to illuminate into the far, I'm going to go in that direction, because I can no longer afford to be stagnant. Because when you're stagnant, you're just sitting there in a pool of water with growth and everything growing, and there's no life in there. And I'm noticing it. Like I sit there and said the other day, they got 20,000 people that are within range of watching this video at any point in time. And yet and still, with the 400 subscribers I got on YouTube, there's a lot more momentum. Now, the thing that I'm learning about Facebook is all about the groups and not so much on the front page of things. But even then, you have to work and work your way up. And these pages are structured not to let you just promote. You got to engage. And sometimes when you are one person, and like I'm not working for a radio station, so I don't have a plethora of people with me. I have to do everything. I got to do everything in moderation. That means when I wake up, X amount of time in the morning, I'm getting my daughter together and helping my wife. In between talking to them, I am utilizing this technology. Just like right now, I could be asleep, but I'm not asleep. I'm taking the opportunity, because to me, when I go to a hotel, people will tell you, um, I base what I'm going to get in the morning as part of the overall package, meaning that I'm not going to go to a hotel that's going to give me a continental breakfast and then charge me. That's why for the last so many years, we have been a Marriott family. And when we go, we know we go to this hotel, we're going to get this breakfast. We go to this hotel, we're going to get this type of breakfast. And we're going to get these amenities. And we get the concierge lounge, then we're basically paying for food. And when you're out and you're traveling with family, food is a commodity that you need. And the more a place is willing to give you food and give you food for later X amount of time, the more it balances itself out. So that's what I have to do this and have to be consistent with. Because I know like this morning when I was promoting and posting, like I seen like one page that said 4 plays. I'm like, oh, that is very discouraging. But in essence, it's not, because there's trials and tribulations, and anything that you want and anything that's worth having, you gotta put that work in. I want a relationship with God. I gotta be devoted to my studies. And I'm not perfect by any measure of the word. And that's why you're not hearing the verse of the day, and you're not hearing my daily bread, because this is a whole different conversation I'm having. And as I'm developing a rapport and getting confirmation, I'm hoping to really continue to expand and do a lot of cool things, and keep having conversations. But one of the things I'm thinking about out loud to myself is that I'm very sporadic. I think at one point in time I was going to do like sporadic live stream with, John Lee. And I'm like, well, I don't want to just say and claim sporadic. Like I would like to get a structured time, but a structured time is not something that's always afforded to me. But then I reminisce and think about all my people back on Stickney Avenue in Toledo right now. I'm like, dude, it's midnight. Like they still got another 2.5, 3 hours. Like, yo, let me go ahead and release this right now because they ain't got done playing all their music. The day's unwinding. Like, yo, unwind with me. Let me give you some conversation so you can take it with you as you get in on 23 and you're driving up North 75 to Detroit and whatnot. Because even though I'm here, I'm still in the grind with you. We just grinding differently. Some of you guys are still on the line, and I'm right here online speaking my truth and trying to counter some of the narratives because there's a lot of propaganda and there's a lot of stuff put out here. And if you are not aware, I'm glad I'm able to say this on my platform. Double check your kids' accounts. Just like, hey, I'm learning, you got to double check them kids' computers that come from school. And you got to ask these questions and you got to learn how to have these conversations with your spouse and significant other. And you have to learn how to really communicate with each other and not jump and get so offensive. It takes time. Trust me, that's why it was a beauty to sit down with my wife and look at her and realize, especially a day like today, how much I do love you, how much I do care for you, how much, in spite of all the banter and the back and forth and everything that we go through as a married couple, I'm glad that I get the opportunity to wake up with you still, wife, because it's a blessing. And I remember, and it kind of like ran in my mind. I remember there was an individual who was trolling or whatever the word is, my profile. And I remember them saying to me years ago, "You will never find anyone better than me." And I remember um, living in Florida, and the first heiress I dated, and the first doctor I dated, and there was a couple. And I look back and I was like, based upon um, body? Are we basing it upon income? Are we basing it upon this and that? I think I've dated a lot more people that I identify with more so than you. But then on the flip side, I meet my wife, and my wife is everything I ever wanted, everything I ever needed, and the biggest opposition I can think of, but yet the sweetest embrace I could imagine. And that is, in essence, doesn't even need to be compared because I can't see no one else other than my wife. And that's why today was a beautiful day and having a good day with her. And today was a blessing to be able to and get our dog diagnosed and realize that he doesn't have no bruised ribs, but he doesn't take well to gas. And listen, I wish I could have some right now. I probably need to make me a good pot of greens and cabbage and get my DeMille fix in. Shout out to my homeboy, man. He rests in peace. And run it through me because since I came back from Houston, I just haven't been myself. And I can only think of the wonders and what that would do for me. But like I said, watching American Fiction, I was excited to watch it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The third act diluted it, but it's on MGM Plus, and I would definitely have to say, in essence, this is the hard part about it because in no way, shape, or form does my numeric score diminish the value of that movie. But in all essence, it was like a 7 out of 10. Tracy Ellis Ross, I love her to death. There were some scenes in there that kind of shocked me. And the whole premise of the story was good. And I was just really excited because it was a large black cast, and the things that they were saying about it and the portrayal and how they said the world, or how what people want to consume and what they like about us is really primitive. But in essence, we got to beat ourselves up because we're taught to evolve and be this version of a person so that we can fit into society. In all essence, that's not who we really are. That's like, when you look at me, right? Um, I'm a bald headed individual, right? I'm bald, but I actively chose to put locks in my hair. Um, and this is one of the products I will have on my Amazon account when I start doing my shopping channel, because I'm also going to start engaging on Amazon since I'm an influencer and I need to get those three products sold so I can keep my status. But I chose this, and they would sit and say that's not a safe haircut. I agree. Nothing's safe about my haircut, nor do I want to come off with a safe haircut, because when I made the choice to purchase this and put it upon my head, I chose what I identify with. I'm a black man. If I could grow it all out, it would be locks and locks and locks on all over my head. My nephew, he has locks. So I want him to see that his uncle has locks when he sees him, so he doesn't feel less of, because the world will try to make us feel we need to blend in, and blending in is suppressing, in my opinion. So I don't see why someone should blend in. I don't need to blend in. I follow the rules. I follow the regulations. I know what happens if you cross and you don't look left and right. So, in no means, shape, fashion, form of word or wording am I trying to tell you to do anything to endanger yourself. But I'm saying that we can't live our lives being a shell of ourselves. And if you're being a shell of yourself and you get tired of being a shell of yourself, then by all means, do what's necessary. But I want to thank you guys so much. So, like I told you, if you're in the market looking for a dog, you should see how much them x-rays cost. And if you are hungry and you're looking for a good lunch deal, definitely check out Outback. They got a good soup and salad going on. And definitely check out American Fiction and get back with me. There's actually a couple other movies I want to check out. I know I was hurt with Jonathan Major getting released, but when I watched The Color Purple, the gentleman Coleman Domingo, he really captivated me. I heard he's in contentions to be the new Kane the Conqueror, but he got a movie called Rustin. I wanted to go ahead and check out, and it has Chris Rock in it with Jeffrey Wright. And then here's the kicker: Jeffrey Wright played Basquiat. And if you know anything about me, behind that backdrop is a big, big, big picture of Basquiat, because Basquiat is just my inspiration. As well as Jay-Z. And I just feel like creatively, he speaks to me. He lets me be who I am. I'm a moon child, and you see I got my little attire on. But I'm saying a whole lot just to be talking and filling in the blanks. I didn't know I was going to talk this long, but I appreciate those who have watched. Thank you for watching. And with that being said, I pray everything is good. Made you travel safely home. And I look forward to talking to you guys on the next video. Straight up.